Greetings, I'm Elijah Sun Card 19, and it's a 5 card cross of truth on for DSE on discipline, self-control, or willpower. Alright, first card we have here is the Devil. So very almost the card I expected when you talk about self-control, discipline, and willpower. And this is about dealing with your vices. It's about taking your vices seriously, knowing that we all have vices, but for some people the vices are more in control of their lives than others. So it's about knowing your vices, expecting that that you need to face these vices and say, you know what, maybe I am drinking too much, or maybe I am eating the wrong foods, or maybe I am on my phone too much, or maybe I need to exercise, or whatever the case may be, or even marijuana or anything like that, where it's like some quarter, or even sex. Some people have different vices that on the surface they look healthy, but underneath they can actually be unhealthy. So sometimes even things like just healthy diets taken to the extreme can actually be unhealthy. So we have certain vices, especially if you argue with people. If you spend your time, your hours trying to convince people that you're right about something that may be healthy, that could also be an unhealthy situation or a vice. Your hopes and fears, we have the Ace of Pentacles. All right, so this card is connecting your vices to your finances. And so what this is saying is it's like you want to get over this hill and improve your finances. So you maybe connect self-discipline and willpower to your finances. So it may be a situation where you may be spending money on the wrong things. It may be something where if you can just get past such and such habit or such and such situation, you will improve your finances. So it seems like that's one of your main motivations for self-discipline and self-control. Here we have your helpful matters. We have the King of Cups. This is a card about emotional maturity. The King of Cups is very emotionally mature. He is very caring for people, and he's very understanding, but he also doesn't make sure that he's not trying to save everybody. And without trying to save everybody, he can keep his finances under control, and he doesn't just sort of throw money at everything and just sort of, he takes his time making decisions, and he's very thoughtful, and he's not in a rush, or he's not jumping and running to just do everything all at once. And he doesn't jump at every opportunity that comes to him. He's really thoughtful, takes his time, and really has a lot of emotional control. Okay, a challenge for you. Here we have the High Priestess reverse. This is a card about learning about yourself. It's about your intuition. It's about trusting your instincts. And so what this card is saying is that with the King of Cups, the lack of self-control, you're not giving yourself enough time to separate between the thought and the action, or the want and the action. And the High Priestess is somebody who is really good at separating the emotion from the thing. So for example, friends say, hey man, let's go to happy hour, and you think, wow, that's going to be great, it's going to be fun, I'm going to hang out with my buddies, whatever, and you've already made the decision before even really thinking it through. And so what happens is the High Priestess is the type of person who would say, let me think about that for a second, or let me get back to you tomorrow before I give you an answer. And she really thinks it through and says, well, I may have been drinking a little bit too much lately, and maybe I need to, hold back on my finances and be a little bit more responsible about certain things. You know what, I'll miss this, I'll skip this happy hour. And your outcome card, we have the Nine of Pentacles reversed. So this just sort of reiterating it. You're not going to become an independent person or a self-sufficient person until you can put more space between the emotion of a decision and making the decision. So if you need to take some more time to be more thoughtful about things, and that sort of will help you separate, making decisions based on vices, based on momentum, based on emotion, and putting a little bit more distance between the question or the offer and the decision. And what that'll do is help subside the emotions a little bit so that you can be much more independent financially. So until you get a hold of your vices, until you get a hold of the things that you think you're in control of that may actually be controlling you, it seems like you possibly will struggle financially, and you may not reach financial independence until you get control over your vices and get control over your habits. And so, what I tell people is make sure to have a realistic look at, hey, maybe this situation is a little bit more, a little worse than what I think it is. We like to walk past the mirror and say, well, I'm not that fat. Or you look at your bank account and say, well, I'm not that broke. But sometimes we are in a worse situation than we like to lead on to. All right. Thanks for letting me read for you. All right, here we go. Second reading. All right, so LJD asks, very similar question. Looking for a message surrounding entrepreneurship. Finances are being a big part of inconsistency. So business and finances, maybe some blockages, and see what comes up. Okay, so just give me a quick shuffle. So I usually shuffle with my left hand, just right, left over right. Flip the cards as I shuffle. Depending on the deck, some decks I'll use it and I'll actually do a poker shuffle. And there we have a jumper. Wasn't the best shuffle. But we have a jumper here. So now we have the Three of Cups. So that card is just going to stay out. I'm going to leave it out and just leave it as a signifier. Just to sort of create the mood of our reading. Alright, one more shuffle. And we'll see what comes up. The lights went out in the room I'm in. Let me stand up real quick. Alright, there you go. Motion lights. I'll do that for you. Quick cut. Let's see what comes up. So we have the Three of Cups. This sort of just sets the tone. This is a card about celebrations. It's a card about enjoying time with people. It's a card about celebrations of some sort. So let's see how that connects back to business and finances. First card we have here is the Tower reversed. This card indicates that you may be on shakier ground than what you admit or what you believe. And so the Tower is about things being destroyed and being rebuilt. So this is maybe a time for you to really start over, to be willing to rebuild something, to really be willing to rip your brand down and build it back up again. So whatever you're doing, finances, business, it may be a time to say, you know what, I need to take 5 steps back so I can take 6 steps forward instead of taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back. And so this is a card about destroying and rebuilding. It's about knowing that whatever the situation is may need to be torn apart so that you can put it back together the right way. Your hopes and fears, we have the Four of Wands reversed. And now the fear here is not having the support system and not being stable while the thing is being torn apart. So you're saying, hey, I may be making XYZ dollars right now, and I know that by tearing it down, tearing it apart, there's going to be a period of time where I'm not making any money or enough money. And it's like, do you have the gumption? Do you have the fortitude to get through that period? And so the biggest fear is lack of stability. So knowing that you need to make some changes, but also knowing that you're going to pay a price for those changes. But the price you pay in the short term has to be worth the long-term prices you pay. So destroying the company or destroying the brand so that you can rebuild it and put it all back together, start over, maybe create new social media accounts, create a new email list, whatever your new product is, whatever your business or entrepreneurial thing is. There's only really 2 businesses. You're either in sales or you're in real estate, in a sense. That's basically, or you're either in service or sales is really the only thing that you really have. Service, sales, and real estate. And so all businesses can sort of be put in those umbrellas. All right, helpful matters. We have the Hangman reverse. This card is the card of waiting for a clue, waiting for a sign, or waiting for someone else to tell you that it's time to rebuild. And so let this reading be one message or one clue, but you've probably already gotten a few clues already that it is time to destroy and rebuild. And this card just says the longer you wait for someone else or for some outside source to tell you that it's time, the worse off you'll be. So you might have to pull the Band-Aid off of this one. Challenge for you, we have the Empress card. So this card could be taken many ways. The Empress is a card about growth. It's about motherhood. It's about nurturing. And so what this card can mean is that maybe you don't have the support from your mother that you'd like. Maybe you are a mother and you feel you're scared to not be able to provide for your children, or you may feel like you just are having trouble growing overall. So this, I believe that this is a growth process. Whenever you destroy something and build it back up, you have the opportunity to rebuild it in a better way, a more efficient way. You may not have the same roadblocks, the same jams that you may have had when you built things a certain way. And what I do as a tarot reader is a lot of times when I'm looking for ideas, I just go look at other tarot readers and see what are they doing. And sometimes I look at them and say, I really don't want to do that. I don't want to do X, Y, Z. That's not my thing. Um, and sometimes I say, you know what? I'm going to have to get out my own way and try something different, try something new, without putting my morals in compromise, not compromising my morals, but just sort of business tactics that I may have thought originally that don't really work, but may actually do work. And final card here, we have the Seven of Cups reversed. This is a card about being very judicious about your choices and what decisions you're going to make. So this is just a matter of paying attention, knowing that some things may look great on the onslaught, but as you get into them, they may not be as great as you may think. So this is about really doing your research, really doing your homework, about making changes, about trying new tactics, A/B testing, whatever you're going to do to get your thing moving, to destroy it so you can rebuild it. So as you rebuild this thing, just be really patient with the decisions you make and make sure that you're doing a lot of research and really thinking things through, especially with your time and your tactics, okay? This Three of Cups, it's a celebration card, and what it could mean here, since I feel like it's connected to this reading, this Three of Cups is really telling me that maybe you're spending more time celebrating and partying when you really should be spending more time working and rebuilding or developing your brand. So I feel like your blockage that you've been looking for is your leisure time. You need to spend more time hustling, more time just sort of disappearing from the grid a little bit, so your friends and family may not see you as much, colleagues or whatever. Really just get back into grind mode, and so that you may not be on the scene for a little while, but that's the price we pay to have successful business and entrepreneurship. Usually comes at the sacrifice of our social relationships, but that's something you want, so that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But just be willing to pay that price. I'm Elijah Sun Card 19. Thank you for letting me read for you. Many blessings. Love and light.